Happy Friday. Welcome to the Pitch Track Chronicles, where fans become family. I'm Uncle Taz. I'm here with Donald. Rob is working, so it is just the two of us, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us on this Friday morning. And I want to lead off because, well, Sasaki's been meeting with a lot of teams, and although our rotation is set, are the Yankees serious contenders to get Roki Sasaki? And if so, it explains why there's been no movement in Yankees going after more of a roster to complete the offseason. If they are not in on him, what are they waiting? Why even wait? Donald, I want to throw the question to you. Should the Yankees be waiting to bolster up this roster if Sasaki, as Rob has predicted, he swears he's standing by that he's going to the Dodgers? I think he's right. I don't know if you're in the same boat as Rob, that it's a lock that that's where he's going. Should the Yankees be waiting to bolster the roster, or just wait until the Sasaki sweepstake is over, along with the rest of baseball?
So there's several factors to this. First of all, the Yankees are already at the 301 threshold, which is the Cohen tax threshold. And from what we understand, I believe that that's the maximum that the Yankees will go to. So that's partly why the Yankees haven't made any moves yet, is because if you're gonna make any further moves to add a bat, they need to free up some money. So that would mean trading Marcus Stroman, and getting some money off the books, because there's about $40 million on the books that to players that are absolutely useless to the Yankees right now. For instance, DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Hicks, just to name two. So the Yankees are at 301 right now, so that's partly why the Yankees haven't made any moves. The second part is because if the Yankees were to sign, say the Yankees were to just go hell with it, let's go and get Bregman or anyone. It'll cost you a qualifying offer, cost you international money, and the Yankees want to keep a hold of that international money to make a run at Sasaki. The Yankees are in the 7. They are in that 7 that have a shot at Sasaki. But if any of you guys paid attention to Jack Curry says that baseball people believe that the Yankees are outsiders in this, and that Sasaki's priority is the West Coast. So, and then that follows on very neatly with what John Heyman reported. John Heyman reported that it's the Dodgers by a good distance, but not 100%. Yeah. But the second option would be the Padres. So it's the Dodgers or the Padres, really. The Yankees or the Mets are distant third or fourth in this. The Cubs also met with them. I don't believe Heyman's a clown, Sean. I believe that's pretty accurate, considering that's what Jack Curry just said as well. So I don't know what he's doing what's wrong. Is it just because he's saying that the Yankees aren't in on him? That doesn't make him a clown. So he's just reporting what he's heard, and I think we're all hearing the same thing. The priority is the West Coast. I would love the Yankees to start cornering the Asian market. I think it's a big miss that this Yankee brand isn't getting the Japanese stars anymore, and it seems to be all going to the Dodgers. That needs to change, and as far as I'm concerned, because I mean we all grew up with the fact that the Yankees got Godzilla. We had Matsuno, we had Tanaka, we had Ichiro. We had a lot of the great players. And for whatever reason, lately, the Yankees aren't getting the Asian market anymore. And the Dodgers seem to be getting the stars. So I would love the Yankees to make a change to that, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But the Yankees are still in. You never know. But it's not really a massive priority, though, because the Yankees already have a starting 5. They've already got their starting 5. If they can get Sasaki, that's great. It's like a bonus. But I would expect him to go to the Padres or the Dodgers I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Padres because he has a relationship with Yu Darvish, and he could be a star there. I'm not sure if he could be a star in LA because they've already got millions. It's a superstar team over there in the Dodgers. So I think if I were him, if I were advising him, I would say if you want to play in the West Coast, I would play for play for the Padres because you can make a name for yourself and be a real star there and be headline that rotation. With the Dodgers, he'd just be one of a ton of great players. And I mean, if he was in the Yankees, he'd probably be our third starter.
Yeah, so, he would be the third behind Cole and Fried.
Yeah.
And I it was in the chat, and it's well known that he grew up, in his career idolizing guys like Tanaka. So I don't think that the Yankees, even though they are a distant second, third, fourth in the running for him, I think because the Yankees are considered in the running, that they are going to wait. I just don't think it's realistic. I think Rob is right. I think it's the Dodgers and then everybody else. I don't see him really going anywhere. He's going to want to join his brother in with the Dodgers. That's the way I see it. But he would be an ace on any staff other than the Dodgers and the Yankees. So it does make sense of why he's meeting with so many other teams, because it'll suit his skill level to really look into what every team has to offer.
Mm-hmm. Al Leiter was particularly complimentary to his skill set, and he says that he's got a very smooth 101, 102 mile an hour fastball that he can do. I mean, the guy's going to be unbelievable. He's going to be a star. He is going to be a star. I would love the Yankees to get him. And it's only smart that they're trying. But I'm just saying not to get your hopes up because, I think Jack Curry would know, And if you said that, the word choice that he used, that Yankee officials were satisfied. Satisfied is not overly optimistic, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because you're never going to hear Yankees officials saying that they were dissatisfied with a meeting. So I just don't think we should get our hopes up on this one. I think we have a less chance of getting him than we did even Yamamoto.
Yeah, no, I think Yamamoto was it's a different type pitcher. Yamamoto, as good as he is, to me, he never presented himself as the ace of his staff, whereas Sasaki does have the profile to be an ace. But when you're able to team up with Yamamoto and Ohtani, I mean, it's hard to say no when the team that has both those players are making a pitch. But like I said, if he really wants, to be the guy and be his own, I just don't see. I don't see the Dodgers. I can see. I never count the Dodgers out. They got deferred money. They are as creative as any other team that puts contracts out. But I don't see him wanting to be, third or fourth in a rotation. I think he'd want to be a 1 or a 2. That's why I think the Yankees would be out.
So would you say? Well, that's why I quite like the idea of him going to the Padres. And there's a chance of maybe the Mets.
The Mets, actually, that was going to be one of the teams I brought up in a minute. I'm surprised the Mets aren't as heavy favorites as the Dodgers are, because the Mets really do need to bolster their rotation. I mean,
I'm not surprised because, as I say, Jack Curry already says that his priority is to be in the West Coast. I don't think it's necessarily to be a number 1 or number 2. I think his priority is to be in the West Coast. Okay. Brad says his gut feeling is the Padres for Sasaki. And to be honest, if I was to do that, I could see that being the case too. As I say, if I was advising him, I would say that for him to choose the Padres to have a shot to be an ace of a staff. But why? How would you turn down the Dodgers though? The Dodgers. I mean, it's not going to cost much money, if at any at all, because it's a rookie contract. So he's gonna he's gonna join a team of superstars. That Dodgers team is ridiculous. Their ownership is a dream ownership where every year they're like, we're gonna try and win the World Series and get the best players possible, and they go all out to do it. Respect to the Dodgers, man. They beat the shit out of the Yankees, and they're like, no, we're not done. We're favorites for Sasaki, and we're gonna make more moves. So Blake Snell, what crazy.
Yeah, it's look. I think it. I think you're on the right train with the West Coast. Well, I think there are still a lot of teams that would prioritize Sasaki over the Yankees, and that's kind of my argument to it. Like Baltimore. Baltimore still has not done anything for their rotation. Especially now that Burns is gone. And their new ownership group, they have not been aggressive at all this offseason. The Red Sox are picking away at a couple of moves. They're improving, but they're still not to the Yankees level. But they're going to be a pain in the ass. The Blue Jays always, give us a, they could, also be a pain in the ass. But
do you know what's also a pain in the ass? That dog barking in the background.
Yeah,
a kennel going on back there? What the hell?
Yeah, one of them wants to go out, and it's just the show's already going, so they got to deal with it. But I will do my best to mute when I am not speaking, and try to keep my statement short. But no, I think that the Yankees with their rotation, I don't see the rest of the East being on the Yankees level to the point that it looked last year. So I don't see. I just don't see Sasaki being a Yankee. I really don't.
No, I don't see it either.
And that's why I'm wondering. I'm like, if the Yankee, obviously they never feel like they're out of it, but they have to do something. If they feel like they're that far away, they're that out of the running with Sasaki with the West Coast. Why not just pivot now while everybody else is kind of hung over from the holiday and strike for an infielder? Lefty arm in the bullpen, we still need, so I think there's still more work that the Yankees have to do rather than just sit and wait.
Well, I mean, while I agree with you, as I've already said, we're already at the 301 threshold. If Hal Steinbrenner is sticking by the 301, then that's why we've not made any further moves. If you look at specifically the contract for Goldschmidt, and you guys check out Joel Sherman's podcast, Joel Sherman said that the Goldschmidt signing is basically unofficially saying that the Yankees have a deadline at the 301. 301 is the hard cap deadline that they've set themselves because the 12.5 mil takes you right to it. So that's why it wasn't an accident. That 12.5 was deliberate. It takes you right to the cooling tax threshold. I think the plan is for the Yankees to be patient and to wait out the market. They might be hoping that once the main pitchers get off the board, that a team will have some money that has a spot in the rotation would be okay to eat some, if not most, of Stroman's contract. That frees up some dollars for the Yankees to get at an infielder. But I think it's going to be a case of patience. Unfortunately, I do. So the Yankees aren't going to rush this because, from everything I've heard, they're not in on Bregman. I wish they were. If I was involved in this, I would have Bregman. You might disagree with me, but I would, because I'd want a Gold Glove infielder that could drive in 80 RBIs and 20 plus home runs. But the Yankees have a hard cap. I wish they didn't, but they do. They're at this contact threshold now. Unfortunately, the Yankees are paying the price for the awful contracts that they've given out in the past. DJ LeMahieu, it was basically 1 year too long, that contract. Aaron Hicks, That's about 5 years too long, that contract. That Aaron Hicks contract is still
That was
killing
about
me.
6 years too long. It should have been
Not
1
6
year.
years too long. Absolutely. And we're still paying the Aaron Hicks contract. And now, when the Yankees desperately need an infielder to secure themselves as the number one team in the American League, they can't add because Hal's got this threshold. And B, they're paying horrible contracts that they never should have given out in the first place. And it's not Monday morning quarterback because at the time that the Aaron Hicks contract was signed, I said it was a terrible contract and that years down the line, the Yankees will be paying his contract off once he's released. And I'll never forget that Yes Network Shill Boys got in touch with me saying that it's a wonderful contract. It's a great contract. Aaron Hicks is a steal. Is he shit?
No, it's the money per year with him wasn't bad. We've been talking about this for 5 years, and since day one that we were working together, you've hated the Hicks contract, so there's no backpedaling on your part.
No.
It was the length of the deal. I think that's kind of the Yankees' flaw is they'll give that extra year or two just to secure that they get their guy that they like. Which is kind of why I understood some of the critique of the years for Fried. But like I said, I think the way he's built, he'll be durable for the 8. Will he be dominant? No, maybe not in years 6, 7, 8, but he'll be durable. Almost like a Pettit or a Sabathia. They'll still be effective. They just won't be their old self, but they'll be able to he'll be able to reinvent. I think that's also why they're staying away from Bregman because he wants that 7-year, a 7-year deal. And I'm sorry, as much as Bregman, I've forgiven the past. I'm done with it. It was what it was. But you still have a team that you want to see win. So Bregman would be the guy that really just locked up the offseason and been like, okay, we missed out on Soto. It sucks. Are we better off without him? Sorry, some reporters. No, we're not. Maybe we'll get into that a little later, Donald.
Yeah.
To that tweet. And I'm like, all right, if we get a Bregman, we missed out on Tucker. We tried, didn't work. That would have been one of those moves that was like, okay, they didn't get their guy, but they did enough to compensate to strengthen the lineup. Bregman would strengthen that lineup, and it would secure the infield defense. So it is a win-win. But I'm sorry. I'd rather have Peraza at second than give Bregman a 7-year deal. I wouldn't go more than 5.
Okay,
Maybe
so you're actually happy with where we're at then?
To start the season, if the Yankees still get a lefty reliever, I think I can feel comfortable coming into the season with the defense in the lineup. Am I jumping through hoops for it? No, but there's still, it's not like the Yankees can't make adjustments as the season progresses till the trade deadline. So
your opinion, I just want to be clear because I was pretty sure a minute ago you were saying that you'd want them to sign Bregman. So you're saying that actually you'd prefer Peraza?
Oh no, if Bregman is stubborn on the 7 years, I don't want to go that long on Bregman.
What about 6?
I could see 6. But the 6th year would have to be an option.
So like a 5-year deal plus
5 year with a 6th option, and then go from there.
Yeah, the thing is though, if you look at, because I was talking to Rob about this, we were looking at the previous contracts given out since Jacoby Ellsbury. Which free agent not already signed by the Yankees in terms of re-signing? Which offensive, which kind of bat have the Yankees given a long-term contract to since Jacoby Ellsbury?
I don't count Judge.
Well, of course, I was going to say, not
just the
ones that
exception
are
to the
already
rule.
tied to the Yankees. So
But
that would
I
be
really,
Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Judge, DJ LeMahieu. It doesn't count Aaron Judge because he was already a Yankee. So ones that are connected to another team. Stan was a trade, TC. So who have they signed on a long-term deal offensively? Because they passed up on, Harper. They didn't even talk to him. And they passed on Machado. Didn't really talk to him either.
Didn't they make the mistake of taking him to Taco Bell or something? They really didn't take Machado seriously at all.
No, they didn't. Yeah, I guess Neil's right. I guess it would be LeMahieu prior to us extending him, but it wasn't really a long-term deal when we signed him. It was kind of a short-term deal, but we passed up on other options. And since then, the Yankees haven't been active in terms of acquiring bats in free agency. They haven't. They've passed up on a ton, an absolute ton. So you could argue that the Ellsbury contract screwed the Yankees in free agency, and it scared them off of future deals.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the any moves that we've made have been extensions, and really bad extensions. Aaron Hicks, DJ LeMahieu. Again, I'm glad they extended DJ, just not for the 6 years. It was about 3-4 years. It was about 3 years too long, I would say, because his contract should be up this year. So the fact that we're still paying him for a future year is bad deal. Yep. But the reason why it was the years were so long is in order to cut down the AAV, in order for the Yankees to stay under these thresholds that Hal is setting, and that's the problem. So, Acevedo says Noe Cashby will take another team's big contract. Correa. I would love Carlos Correa. Are you kidding me? But that contract's big. That's a big ass contract.
That's a big contract. I don't know.
You know what? Do you see him taking that on?
Sorry, continue your thought.
Yeah, no,
I'd rather give Bregman the 7th year than Correa, because Correa has not been the same since leaving Houston. I think Correa. I just can he have I always thought going to the Twins was kind of like a nail in his coffin, because the Twins, if the Yankees are in the playoffs, they don't get through. So I was shocked that he went to that type of team. Maybe they thought that bringing him in would get them over the Yankee curse.
Right.
That's proven to be a failed experiment in Minnesota. But I don't know. I think Bregman, because he hasn't had a big drop off like Correa has. So I would, if I had to choose between trading for Correa or signing Bregman, then I'd have to up the ante and maybe give him the 7th year.
Yeah. Having said that, although the RBI numbers aren't necessarily there, the batting average is there. In 2 out of the 3 years that he's been a Twin, he bat 290 in 2022, and he bat 310 just this past year. So, I mean, that would automatically make the Yankee Correa the second best bat in terms of batting average on the Yankees after Aaron Judge. So, I wouldn't hate Correa at all. He'd play beautiful defense, and he'd give you some, pop, and he doesn't strike out too much. He didn't strike out at all last year, which is good. So, I mean, I would consider it. Unfortunately, his contract's really, really freaking high, though.
Yeah,
I think that would dissuade the Yankees for taking it on, unless they can get convinced the Twins to eat a bunch of of the money. In which case, then maybe that's a possibility. I just don't know how real that is as a possibility because I'm pretty convinced that the Yankees are going to stay near the this threshold that they're at because his Correa's contract right now is $35 million.
Yep.
So that's per year. Not over the course of it. It's 35 per year, so that's a lot. That's actually more than what Bregman would get paid annually.
Yeah, I could see Bregman getting in the 30 mark.
Maybe.
That's his high. That's his ceiling is 30.
Yeah.
Brad $5 million is a big deal. Yeah, Brad, I saw that too with the Tigers going, being really aggressive with Bregman. So I'll pivot off of that, and I'll ask this question to Donald and you guys in the chat. The clock is ticking on Sasaki Kim to get a deal done before he has to be returned to Japan. Could that be a quick pivot for the Yankees to try to, and get him into the infield? Is that a route that you would feel comfortable with?
Well, what do you think?
I think he would be, and Sean's he's getting ahead of me in the chat, because he is a legit leadoff hitter. He's I think he still has enough in the tank to contribute on a positive to a team, and it seems like from what I've read is he doesn't want to go back to Japan just yet. I think he feels he can still, really he really wants to continue playing for the MLB. So maybe, almost like with a Torres, wanted to be a Yankee, try to play off the desperation. Maybe you get him on an easy contract, a team-friendly contract, so he doesn't have to go back.
So we're talking about Ha-Seong Kim of
Korea.
The Korean. So he declined that $8 million mutual option with the Padres, and he's still technically a free agent. Isn't he injured though? Yeah, he's coming off.
He wouldn't be available
surgery to repair torn labrum in his shoulder, so he's likely to miss time into 2025.
I think he's back by late June.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I'd prefer someone that's actually healthy.
Yeah, no, and that's why I think he's an interesting, talking point because, the guy does want to stay. Maybe you play on that. Right, he turned down 8, offer him 10. And see if he bites on that. I wouldn't go too crazy with him because it's not going to be a full year, and it'll also give the Yankees to see what they have with Peraza. So it could turn into a win-win for the Yankees because if Peraza is ready to go, available end of April, so it's not as long as injury is not as severe as I originally thought. So
I think you're a little confused, man. I was trying to work out what you meant. Do you mean the Padres Kim or the? Because Uncle, Brad says
Ha-Seong. Whichever one. I know there's 2 of them. It does get confusing.
Kim from Korea is injury free and likely be an MLB second baseman. Ha-Seong Kim. Is that the one that you meant? The one that the San Diego Padres? Ha-Seong Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ha-Seong Kim. Sorry, Tats, what did you say?
No, go ahead.
Well, he is actually Korean, Ha-Seong Kim, for the Padres. 11 home runs, 47 RBIs last year, 22 stolen bases, 700 OPS. 330 on base percentage.
And then,
he is Korean, so you're not wrong there. I'm just not sure if he's the option that we want. That's all.
So with that now, because I keep forgetting that there's two Kims, one's Japanese, one's Korean. But there's, let's just say, the one that's the second baseman. I saw it with 161 Revev that he's still a viable option. And we have, look at
Well, we go wrong in the chat to try and clear things up for Brad, I believe. Yeah, they're both Korean.
But okay.
So, Tess, you weren't wrong. It was actually Brad confused you. God damn it, Brad.
No, it wasn't Brad. Sunil started the whole confusion.
Oh, okay.
But what? Not Kim. Whatever. I'm not listening to you. You already screwed it up enough. Because I know there's a Kim that was a second baseman that I thought would be a really good option. That's the one that I'm looking for. Oh, believe me, John, me too. And I'm on very limited sleep to begin with. So having task moments are going to be free flowing. I like Brad likes to say. But look, if the Yankees do wait, I mean, let's get to names that we actually can seriously talk about. Now, a lot of people are talking about putting Jazz at second and having it's a nightmare over here. You have no idea. But I think that the issue would be
just open the door and let the dog in.
No. It's all the way in. I'd have to actually go all the way down to the basement. So,
well, why don't you go do
what
that?
I do is I'll
go talk to the chat. Why don't you go and deal with the dog, and I'm going to go speak to the chat because this is not working. So sorry, guys. We got 60 people in the chat. We got dogs barking over there, and it's just too distracting. We got to get better quality out for you guys. So you guys deserve better than this. So we got 60 people in the chat. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. We got Sunil, we got Sean, we got Ken, we got Ken Claus, as I should say. What else have we got? We got Brad, we got Sean Browning. What else we got? We got Acevedo, we got Lou. What's Lou got to say? Hard pass on Korea. Okay, Lou's not a fan of Korea. Sunil, Donald, and Uncle Tats. While on topic, in your opinion, which contract is worse of the two, Jacoby Ellsbury or Aaron Hicks? They're both horrible. I would say Aaron Hicks because we're still on the hook for that asshole, and I despise that man with every fiber of my being. Dev Finch, what is going on, Dev? How are you doing? Got Stevie B, got FJ. FJ says if the Yankees definitely knew Sasaki was going to LA, then moves would be made. Well, yeah, the Yankees are still leaving themselves open in order to possibly get it. I mean, they had a 2-hour meeting with him. I mean, Jack Curry said it was a satisfactory meeting. I don't know how much to read into that satisfactory word choice, but it was nonetheless a meeting. And the Yankees are one of, I would say, 5 teams that have a shot at getting him. I would say it's the Dodgers and the Padres, 1A, 1B. I would say the Mets, the Yankees, and Cubs after that. I would say are the most likely scenario, but I don't think the Yankees are really that likely. John S., will the Yankees get someone this week? I'm not convinced about that, John, because as I said at the start of the show, the Yankees are already at the 301 Cohen tax threshold, and I believe that that's basically an unofficial cap for them. So I don't see them going much beyond that. So I think at this moment it's going to be a case of freeing up some contracts in order to take on any more contracts. So I believe that the Yankees are out on the free agents. Certainly the offensive free agents, I think the Yankees are out on. I believe that their heavy lifting has already been done. Unfortunately, I still think that they're a move away. But you might see them make a move for a lefty reliever, maybe an Andrew Chafin, maybe a Tim Hill, someone of that ilk. But I think most likely that the Yankees are going to be looking at being patient the rest of the next few weeks to see how things play out. As Joel Sherman said, that there's a chance that the Yankees go into spring training with the team as is. He said that the good news about the way that the Yankees put this offseason together is that as it stands, they could easily go into spring training and have a very strong team that they're satisfied with, but still be open to making future moves. There's no time limit as to when the Yankees would make that trade, but they could maybe make an infield trade in spring training, maybe late in the offseason, something like that. But I think that the Yankees are going to be patient. I mean, if I were in charge, then I would not have this Cohen tax threshold as any kind of a deadline, because the Mets don't seem to care and the Dodgers don't seem to care, so why should the Yankees? But the Yankees are very much worried about their tax bill. They had a crazy tax bill last year, so they're probably wanting to reset the luxury tax. We know how much they're against these luxury taxes. I can't blame them for it, but I would go and sign Bregman. But there's also been rumors that the Yankees would maybe make a trade for Reyes. I don't think they'd want to take on someone who can't play defense. They've already got a first baseman and they've already got a DH, so I don't know how much sense a Reyes would make, but he's someone that will bat you 310, 320 and get you on base, because I really believe that the Yankees are short of on base percentage in this lineup. You look at this lineup, 1 through 9, the only consistent on base percentage is Aaron Judge. So that's a problem for me. So I would definitely look to get some OBP in here. FJ, the Yankees aren't going to get Tanner Scott. I would say the Dodgers are probably going to get Tanner Scott. Let's be honest. Clearly, if you don't hit the like, Cashman won't sign anyone else. I don't know what the Yankees are going to do. Cashman's going to sign anyone else anyway. But Regil the Great is right. Regil is spot on. Everybody, hit that like button. Hit that like button like nothing on earth. Give it a good click and become a member if you haven't already done so. Yep. TC Seal says sign Profar and put him at second and bat leadoff. I do love Profar. Big fan of him. What have we got? 16 blame refs. Detroit Kitties. No, that's a very cool name. He's saying peace. Peace to you, my guy. Thank you so much for checking in. Honestly, what are the chances of Profar? I've not heard anything on Profar.
No, there's no bucket on him.
I would love Profar in this lineup. I mean, I think he's more of a left fielder, but I know he originated in the infield. I think he could play infield. Hey, listen, I wouldn't discount Profar. I would love the Yankees to sign one more bat. They need a leadoff bat. They need someone that can set the table. They don't have it. Hey, they need some protection for Aaron Judge. They don't have that for either. So, I mean, I'm not sure why some people are saying that the Yankees lineup is better than last year or all that stuff. I don't believe it. I don't think that's the case. But they would go a long way to being very, very good if they could add some on-base percentage. Is Arraez a defensive liability at second? I thought his liabilities on defense were at first. No, I don't think he's a good second baseman. I think that's the problem. But I'm a big fan of Arraez. I like someone that can get on base. I like someone that can bat 320, 330. I'm a big fan of that because I'm an old school on batting average guy. But I don't think the Yankees. The reason why I don't think the Yankees go into Arraez is because the Yankees actually have a very solid plan this offseason. And the offseason plan is to improve the defense and run prevention is their big priority in order to take the pressure off the offense. So whatever you've lost in offense, they're trying to make up in run prevention. An Arraez trade would fly in the face of that. It would be it would be the opposite of the way that they're approaching this offseason. So I wouldn't expect that to be a move that the Yankees make. And we got Uncle Tad's back, and it seems to be
Yes, but I do.
so much quieter. We can hear ourselves think.
Yes, I do apologize to everybody, especially Donald, for the background noise. No, look, Arias was one of my guys. If you saw the show where we did the with or without Soto, Arias was my guy. That was my first move. That was my first pivot. But the more you dive into his defense, yeah, it would be almost like having Soto's bat and his patience at the plate and his ability to get on base with a more damaging Torres defense. So it's kind of you're you're solving one problem while not correcting another. But if we were able to get him, if and this is gonna, I know this is gonna bring out somebody else into the chat at some point, but like if we had the DH spot open, Arias would be the perfect guy to get. But our DH, you don't want to lock into one guy. Well, we already have a guy locked into DH, but a guy like Stanton's not going to play 162 games because he's going to get off days when he's struggling to get Judge off his feet. We also did get a couple of aging players. I don't want to say old players, but aging. So, you're going to want to have a couple of games where, Goldie is a DH to get him off his feet at first, Bellinger to get it off his feet in the outfield. So you need to have the flexibility to shuffle people around. So, upon further investigation, I would have to say that Arraez would really be out of the equation.
I want to answer FJ's question. FJ's asking if Profar has played the infield since the COVID years. So I've got the breakdown for you by Baseball Reference, FJ. He played first base for 2 games in 24, but he played left field for 148 games. In 2023, he played just 1 game at second base, 5 games at first, the rest outfield. So then we go, it was outfield all of 2023. It was outfield all of 2022. 2021, he played second base for just 10 games. And then he's really not played second base consistently since 2019. That's where he played 124 games for Oakland in 2019. Other than that, he's been by and large an outfielder. So, listen, I'm a big fan of Jurickson Profar. If you look at the numbers that he had this year, 24 homers, 280 batting average, 85 RBIs, 134 OPS plus, 839 OPS. Sign me up, and a very decent OBP of 380. That's everything that you'd want. Unfortunately, he's just not played second base in a long time. So I don't know if that's really an option. He'd have been good. He'd have been a good target in free agency for the outfield.
Yeah, look, if we needed a bench player for the outfield, if we didn't have, Grisham, Profar would be a great piece to add. I don't see him in the
player, man. He's an everyday player. He's not a bench player.
Well, that was part of my argument, But it's you're not going to bring a guy in that's not going to play every day. You're not going to put him in the infield to Donald's explanation. He hasn't played it. I don't see the only way Profar's in the equation if we missed out on Bellinger. If we missed out on that trade, then Profar would have been the fit, really, because then you could put him in left field, you could leave Dominguez in center, put Judge back in right, no harm, no foul, everything is good. So I think the book is closed on Profar. I really do.
You could have made the argument that Profar should have been the target from the get-go because he's coming off an excellent year, and the two bats that we've had to replace Soto and Torres are coming off significant down years. So you can make the argument that Profar might have been the option to go to, but it is what it is. Did you check out Goldschmidt's interview since signing for the Yankees?
Yeah, I caught some of it. It was kind of little monotone.
Yeah.
Look, I'll say this. I don't think any time a team acquires a player, I don't think it requires a press conference. So I'll leave that at that. Look, he's ready to go. What I did like were his comments about working with guys like Ben Rice. And really understanding that in his career, his value not only on the field could also be with guys that are coming up and learning a position. It reminded me with Teixeira with Greg Bird, where there was no, oh my God, this guy's after my job. They understand that they're at the tail end of their career, looking for a little, exuberance and a little fire, but knowing that there's, they're also there to pave the way for the next guy. So I that part of the interview I thought was very telling. That he's not just here just to play; he's here to really impact the organization. That was my takeaway from that.
Yeah, and actually, I quite like the fact that he was quite accountable for his struggles in the first half of last year. He said that he made no bones about it, and he apologized to everyone on the Cardinals for the first half of the year. He just said that he was just missing pitches that he normally rakes, but he made a mechanical adjustment in the second half of the year, and his numbers were much better after that. He had a really strong second half of the year, and he believes that he's still got plenty left in the tank. And he's only 2 years removed from an MVP. So, listen, Goldschmidt. If this was 2 years ago, and I found out that the Yankees signed Goldschmidt, I would be getting his jersey. I'd be jumping for joy because he's literally been one of my favorite first basemen in baseball. I think he's been criminally underrated, and I would have made a deal to acquire him years ago. He's awesome, absolutely awesome. I'm just wondering at 37 how much left is in the tank, but we will find out. We will find out. Maybe it could work out. Maybe it's one of those things where he just balls out, gives you 22 home runs, 25 homers, 80 RBIs, 800 OPS, and then we're actually looking to give him a further 1 year extension after that. Who knows? We're hoping so. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Would I have gone younger at first? Yeah. Would I have not had this Cohen tax threshold? Yeah. But it is what it is.
Yep. I think for the 1 year, I think it was a no-brainer. With the options that were there, I can't be mad about it. But I mean, like you said, you've said the whole time. 2 years ago, when we're celebrating, we're jumping up and down.
Yeah.
That we got Goldie. But if it's for 1 year and he's accepting, his role, that he'll also, he knows he's coming in also as a mentor for the next first baseman. If that is Rice, I think he can be. I think Rice was put in a position where he was going to be heavily criticized because he was a catcher. They put him at first base. They gave it a shot. He had a little bit of a run. And when his run was over and he got delegated back to the bench, almost like a Cabrera. It's like, look, use me as you need me. I'm just happy to be here type of attitude. So I have no nothing bad to say about Ben Rice. And And Steve, I think
how is Stroman still on this team?
I know I saw that. I wanted to get to that in a second, but I do think Steve. I do agree. I think Goldschmidt's a class act.
He is a class act. I thought that's what my major takeaway from watching that little short press conference. Only watched a couple of minutes of it because it wasn't exactly exciting, but I thought he was a class act. I thought he was a very good dude, very accountable dude, and I think he'll be perfect fit in the locker room. If you can get something out of him, and he plays like the second half of last year, Goldshmidt, then we're fine. But I still think we're a bad away. We need some on base percentage in this lineup, so they need to get to work on that. But I think the only way they can do that is to shed Stroman's salary. And as I've mentioned earlier in the podcast, I think the Yankees understand that it's going to take free agent names dropping off the board for Stroman to be of interest to other teams that still have a vacancy in their rotation and that have some money set aside to do so. And maybe then you could unload Stroman onto that team. That would then free up some money for us to go and acquire an infielder. I just don't expect anything imminent right now because as we circle back to the start of the podcast, a lot of teams are waiting out this Sasaki stuff, and we're not going to find out about Sasaki until the middle of this month, I believe, 15th.
Yeah, I think it's the 15th of January is the date, 14th to 15th, somewhere around there. But let's end with this question to the chat. If the Yankees are able to move Stroman's salary, does that ease does that lessen the risk of giving Bregman a deal? Does that free up that money where you're not going as much over the threshold as you would have been if Stroman was still here? 12 days away from thanks, Steve. 12 days away from the Sasaki sweepstakes ending.
Yeah,
the 15th.
That's what I said.
Yep.
So, my stance on this. I would love to sign Bregman, but we already broke down the Yankees don't go long term on offensive bats outside the organization ever since Ellsbury. So, I'm not expecting that to happen. Not expecting it to change this year. If you guys want an infielder, you're gonna have to make a trade for one. I'm hoping that someone comes available. Let's hope someone good becomes available because we need someone good. Make no bones about it. We're a bat away, so we'll wait and see. But I would love Bregman. Love him. I want him. I would have made him a priority. But the Yankees don't go long term on bats these days because Ellsbury scared them off. It was that much of a disaster that it's affected the way that they approach free agency. They trust pitchers more than they do bats long term from outside the organization. TC still is a long shot to sign Bregman. I don't even think they're in Bregman anymore. I think they were fishing around at the start of the offseason, but I don't think they're in on him anymore. I think that he's going to go to the Tigers. And the Tigers are going to slowly build a decent team. They go Gleyber Torres. They get Bregman. Then they're going to be a team to pay attention to.
Yeah, and Graham, I don't think they would have to move Grisham, or should they move Grisham? I think for $5 million to have him as a backup for left and center field, really, if we were able to do that with him as a free agent, we'd be going, all right, that was a good move. So I think Grisham on this roster, it's really not an issue at all, salary wise. Stroman's the issue with the salary. And Lou, the Tigers, they're going all in. They're going to try to carry on from what they did last year.
Yeah, there's some teams that have money to spend. Including the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays can't convince anyone.
Nobody wants to go there
because everyone wants to go to Canada. Because I believe the taxes must be crazy over there.
It's ridiculous there
in Canada. Yeah, so I think that's a big part.
There was something else where there are players, and I think there was still one player that was still on their roster that are having issues that they haven't gotten their paychecks from the games played in Canada, because it's tied up in all this legality stuff with being, intercontinental. So there's also legal issues going on there. I'll look further into that. Maybe we'll talk about that on Monday of why the Blue Jays.
That's interesting
so much
because
trouble.
it is fascinating that a reputable organization
on that.
The Blue Jays are a reputable organization, and they've got a history, and they've got some great players. They got Vlad, for crying out loud, but they just can't convince. And they've got money to spend, but they can't convince anyone to sign up for them. And I think a lot of it has got to do with Canada. Blame Canada.
Yep. We all know the song. Blame Canada.
I was waiting to see
if you're in a certain age group, you know the song. So you youngins, do some research.
Exactly.
And Raziel, if that's it, is saying that every 4 minutes there's a YouTube ad interruption. And yeah, we have reached that point where we are getting ads, which is a great
beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, baby.
If it's that often, if for other people, let me know, and we'll see what we could do to adjust how it'll run the ads. I'll see what I could do for that in the early stages of it, because we do not want you guys getting interrupted over and over again and tuning out. And so we'll look at that. Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Rose. Yeah, definitely. We'll work on that. And Stephen B with the laughing, I know he knows exactly what that is. But that is going to be the end of the show. We do appreciate everybody that spent their Friday with us. We hope you all have a great weekend. Make sure you tune in Sunday to the Upper Deck with Lynn and Sierra. And then Monday, we will when it's back to being Rob, Donald, and myself, Monday we will have our first giveaway. So we will be working over the weekend, making sure that we put a nice little card package together for you, courtesy of CT Cards. You all know them, you all love them. And
also, guys, don't forget the debut of the Yankified podcast is tomorrow night. That is the grand debut of the Yankified podcast.
Yes.
And that will be tomorrow night, guys. So you guys you're going to have plenty of
content
of this channel this weekend. You got the Upper Deck on Sunday, and you got me tomorrow night. I believe 7 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. Something around about that. We will be having the debut of the Yankified podcast. So everybody be sure to check out that and share it out to your friends and family.
And just so you know, for those that do follow us on social media, we will be promoting the link to the show on our social media accounts tomorrow, once Donald is all set up and ready to go. So you guys will not miss 1 minute of the debut of Yankified. I am looking forward to it myself. I'll be putting my feet up, watching my guy do what he does best, and that is talking Yankees baseball. So with that being said, we do appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video.
That a baseball glove? What is he chewing?
Oh, that used to be a football.
Oh my God. I thought it was a baseball glove.
Nope, it's an old football.
Wow.
So,
that's a lion. That dog's head is like bigger than
So for I know John the Beagle Dad, CT Cards. I know you guys really like when you get a chance to see her on the screen. So there she is.
That's more deflated than Tom Brady's freaking football.
not almost as inflated. Screw that guy. But remember, this is the Pitchline Chronicles, where fans become family. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us, having a good time. Again, sorry for the interruptions throughout the show. On my part, they usually are pretty tame. But just remember, Just wear those pinstripes of pride. Play hard.